Hey everyone, it's Marish. Today I'm going to talk about what's known as word equations. For this, in order to do a word equation, you will need a periodic table and a list of polyatomic ions. If you do not have one, I will put one up on Moodle so you have something to look at, something you can either download or print out or just save a copy to your computer. A few things you need to know about word equations. We're going to be talking about metals, nonmetals, metalloids, everything. If a metal is being used in a word equation, and it's not in a compound, it just says the name of a metal, that will be written down as a single atom. Gas, when mentioned in a word equation, something like hydrogen, it's going to be called hydrogen, but the symbol for that would be H2 because gases in chemical reactions are diatomic. I'll go over a list of the gases that you might see as well. Sometimes you might also have the name of an acid. Something like hydrochloric acid, you see that name, you're going to use HCl. These are just some common acids you might see. You won't always see them. Sometimes you'll have acids. Usually there's a large variety of what you might see, but these ones, I looked through some of the homeworks that we were going to have in class, and these are the ones I saw written down most often. So we have hydrochloric sulfuric acid, which is H2SO4, nitric acid, HNO3, acetic acid, which is HCH3COO. There's another formula for that, which I should give you. It's also HC2H3O2. So either one of those would be considered acetic acid. Phosphoric acid is H3PO4, and nitrous acid is HNO2. The only difference between nitric and nitrous is one missing oxygen. Word equations will also have all of the naming types that we've covered in class. So you might see hydrocarbons like pentane, hexane, heptane. You might have covalent names like dihydrogen monoxide might be used instead of the word water. You might also have common names. Ammonia, not ammonium, the polyatomic ion, but the chemical ammonia is nitrogen trihydride, or NH3. So you might see some common names as well. And of course, you're going to have tons of polyatomic names. So let's look at a few examples. I'll go through them. I'm going to put an assignment up on Moodle that you will have to complete, and I'll show you what you're going to write in so you can complete this. All right. First, potassium reacts with water, yielding potassium hydroxide and hydrogen. So when you see these things, you have reacts with. Why is it blank? There we go. Reacts with. That is a plus sign. Yielding is an arrow. And is a plus sign. So we have potassium and water, potassium hydroxide, and hydrogen all listed. Potassium is an alkali metal, so that is a single element atom. We go like a single atom element, excuse me. That is ugly. Let's fix that. Reacts with water, of course, the common name, H2O, yielding potassium hydroxide and hydrogen. Hydrogen is a gas, so hydrogen would be H2. Potassium hydroxide, in order to know what this one is, you're going to look at your polyatomic ion sheet for hydroxide and your periodic table for potassium. And when you have a compound name like this, you need to look at the ions. Potassium's a K, it's a 1 plus. Hydroxide is an OH. It's a 1 minus. If I rewrite them together, I get KOH, and crisscrossing you get 1 and 1. So, oh, what the heck just happened there? Whoa. Okay, I can't fix this. I can't fix this at all. Great. Yeah, I'm back. I have no idea what just happened. So I think... Oh yeah, I still don't know. Let me check something. There we go. That might help. So, what was I saying? So potassium is the ion K plus, and hydroxide is a polyatomic ion OH minus. When I crisscross a 1 plus and a 1 minus, I get a KOH, so that would go here. I would want you to then balance this equation, and we'll look at it really quickly. I'll change the color to red if I could change the color at all, which I can. Yay, go me. We have hydrogen split up. I have 3. I have 2. That's an odd number, so I'm going to make this one even by taking my 2 and adding that to 2 instead of 1. So now I have 2 oxygens, 4 hydrogens, and 2 potassiums. 2 potassiums, and I double that because I doubled the amount of oxygen. So in Moodle, when you do this, I would have you type it in like this. I wouldn't worry about subscripts. Subscripts don't really matter here. But I would also want you to balance it just like we did before on those other balancing sheets. I might even put this one up there just so you have a freebie. So there you go. And that's how we do that one. Pretty straightforward, not too crazy. Let's look at another one. I mean, it's crazy if you don't like writing chemical formula names. This will be a lot more work than what we had done in the past, but I will give you less than half the amount of problems to do. So it won't be nearly as daunting as that 75 or 100 chemical reactions you had to balance. So let's look at another one. This one here, a little bit different. The arrows in there, the plus signs are in there. So what you need to do here is basically figure out what these chemical compounds are. So again, grab your polyatomic ion sheet, periodic table, figure out your chemical element symbols and your charges. Sodium's a group 1 element, so I don't like doing this color. I'm going to change it to blue. I like blue. Blue's good. All right, so sodium is a group 1. So it's Na, 1 plus. Carbonate, the ATE ending kind of indicates that it's a polyatomic ion. So we're going to put the polyatomic ion carbonate is CO3, 2 minus. Silver is Ag. It is a 1 plus. And nitrate is another polyatomic ion. It's NO3, 1 minus. Sodium over here, Na. Well, it's the same as the sodium over there, I guess. And NO3, we're just repeating what we already looked up. Oops. Boom. And then we have Ag and CO3, 2 minus. So now we need to make sure we write these chemical formulas properly. So we take the 2 element symbols, or the 2 symbols we just looked up, we rewrite them together. Rewrite them together. Rewrite them together. I think you know where I'm going with this. I bet I'm going to rewrite these together. Yeah, there we go. All right. Now, we have to crisscross, so I'm going to change the color real quick to red. Try not to screw up the screen like before. Crisscross. The 1 goes out there, the 2 goes down there, right there, and this is a 1, so I don't have to write it. These are 1 and 1, so I don't have to write it. You don't need parentheses around polyatomic ions unless you put a number next to it, and we have not done that yet. This is a 1 and a 1 again, so crisscross, don't have to write 1s. And here, this 2 is going to go down here, and this is going to be a 1, and I do not have to write it. So we get Na2CO3 AgNO3 yielding NaNO3 Ag2CO3. And if you put this into Moodle, I'll have the arrows in there and the plus signs. You'll just be responsible for the balancing and writing in the chemical symbols like this. Let me move that down a second. Can I move that down a second? We're going to move that down a second. Nope, can't do it. That's not going to work. Let's try this one. This might work. I don't know what I'm moving. Oh, I took out that thing. Okay, this is dumb. Just forget it. I'm not going to move it. We're going to leave it right there. But let's balance it. Ugh, this is so daunting. All right, so I see that I have right here 2 sodiums, and over here I only have 1, so I'm going to put a 2. That doubles the amount of nitrate I have, so I need to go over here and put a 2. And that makes me have 2 silvers on both sides, 2 sodiums on both sides, 2 nitrates on both sides, and 2 silver. I already said silver. Whatever I didn't say, you got 2 of them. Oh, also something to remember, which before I switch slides, remember in Moodle, you got to put 1 next to things next to where you aren't putting in a number. All right, one more, and then here we go. Now we have water and dinitrogen trioxide yielding nitrous acid. So this is just like all sorts of naming types. And it is a little confusing for some people because we went from, on this slide, ionic naming, to on this slide we have covalent naming, common words, and an acid. I'm going to make sure on the homework assignments or the work assignments I'm going to give you for this to only use the acids on the first slide from this. So you can come back here, write these down somewhere. But also I'm going to kind of limit the amount of times I do crazy things like common names, because I don't want you to have to like search the internet for this. I want you to just be able to use your polyatomic ion sheet, use your periodic table, work with your charges and crisscross things. It's just more practice there. So let's do this one, common names and whatnot. Water, of course, and I need to make sure I can write, is H2O. Dinitrogen is N2. Trioxide is O3. So when you have a let me start over. When you have a covalent name, you do not need to crisscross it. So if you see prefixes, don't worry about charges, just write 2 nitrogens, 3 oxygens. Cool. And then nitrous acid, go back to this reference at the beginning, nitrous is HNO2. So HNO2. That one, different words, but a little easier to balance that, or to write that time, just because they're common names, and I think covalent naming is always much easier. Acids will be a little tricky if you don't have that list, but they're all accessible. So let's balance this bad boy. Yes, I said that. I have 4 oxygens. I have 2 oxygens. I have 2 nitrogens. I have 1 nitrogen. And my hydrogens, I have 2 and 2 here and 1 here. So I'm going to first balance my hydrogens to put a 2, which also doubles my nitrogens. So 2 hydrogens, 2 nitrogens. Count my oxygens. I'm at 4, and they have not changed. They're at 4. So we're good to go. To write this into Moodle, it'll look like this. The arrow will be much nicer in Moodle. I would just put a 2 right there, and I'd write these in like this. Don't worry about subscripts. Just write them in with large letters. If you do have something that requires parentheses, you'll just do, let's do magnesium phosphate, which is magnesium 2 plus, phosphate 3 minus. Rewrite them together, and you get a 3 down here and a 2 down here. Put that in parentheses, and you'd write this into Moodle like this. Not like that. Like that. Cool. I hope it's cool. I hope you don't struggle with this too much. It is a little daunting. Again, if there are some things you're really struggling with, let me know, and I will try to post little videos to work through them. Good luck, and yeah, talk to you later.